This was California's first civilian town, a valley so lush they called it the Heart's Delight, and ground zero for the digital revolution. San Jose's history is America's story in microcosm, from native lands to Spanish outpost, from fruit packers to iPhone makers. But how did Sleepy Orchards become Silicon Valley? And at what cost? The history of San Jose reveals the dark side of the American dream. Shadows beneath the valley, the dark origins of San Jose. Long before asphalt paved the earth and silicon-fed machines, the fertile Santa Clara Valley pulsed with the breath of the Thámien people, a branch of the Ohlone who had lived in harmony with the land for over 6,000 years. But in 1777, the silence of their sacred groves was broken by the toll of foreign bells, heralding the arrival of Spanish colonizers cloaked in the cross. What followed was not salvation but subjugation. The Thámien were torn from their ancestral ways and thrust into the cold stone walls of Mission Santa Clara de Asís and Mission San Jose. There they were baptized not into faith but into bondage, rebranded as neophytes in a campaign of cultural erasure. The missions became prisons where their language, traditions, and dignity were stripped away, and their bodies consumed by European diseases and starvation. When Mexico seized the reins and secularized the missions in 1833, it was too late. The Thámien had been decimated, their lands handed to settlers as rewards, their spirits scattered like ashes in the wind. A few survivors clung to each other, drifting toward Santa Cruz, nameless in the official histories that followed. Beneath today's gleaming tech corridors and the hum of innovation, the soil still remembers the cries of a people who once walked this valley as its guardians, before conquest cast its long dark shadow. The price of settlement, San Jose under Spanish rule. In the harsh and desolate expanse of Alta California, the land was claimed by Spain in 1542, but for nearly 2 centuries it lay forgotten, a distant frontier at the edge of the empire. The indigenous nations thrived under their own laws, untamed by the distant whispers of Spanish authority. But the winds of change arrived in 1769, carrying with them the clamor of European powers threatening Spanish dominion. Russian fur traders pressed southward, and British settlers circled, forcing Spain's hand to send the Portola expedition to claim the land. By 1776, the empire's grip tightened, and in an effort to secure the coastline, Juan Bautista de Anza ventured to survey the bay areas, marking the site for future settlements that would become the backbone of Spanish power in the region. On November 29, 1777, San Jose de Guadalupe was born, not from the promises of prosperity, but from the cold calculations of empire. Built on the blood of the Thámien and the backs of native laborers, San Jose was to serve as a vital link in the chain of military control between the Monterrey and San Francisco presidios, its mission a tool of both faith and dominance. The land was far from untouched. The indigenous people were forced into the shadow of the mission's bell tower, their lives and cultures dismantled as they were pressed into servitude. The town, drenched in floodwaters and teetering on the brink of collapse, was abandoned in 1791, moved south to a new location as if to erase the suffering that had rooted itself in the soil. The Spanish sought to conquer not just the land, but the very essence of its people. As Alta California was formally split in 1800, what began as a desperate attempt to safeguard Spanish sovereignty would set the stage for the clash of cultures, where the settlement of San Jose would forever carry the dark legacy of conquest, manipulation, and forgotten histories. The darkening of San Jose, Mexico's struggle for control. When Mexico emerged victorious in 1821, the chains of Spanish rule shattered, but the birth of a new nation brought little peace to the land. San Jose, now part of the First Mexican Empire, entered a turbulent new era. As Mexico sought to secure its independence and assert its dominance, the country turned against its own heritage, stripping the missions of their power in 1833, leaving a void of spiritual and cultural devastation. To encourage settlement, Mexico issued rancho land grants, but this policy, intended to strengthen the land, quickly turned into a land grab by the rich and powerful. By 1835, San Jose was teetering between its indigenous past and the foreign influence that slowly suffocated it, with foreign settlers growing in number and influence. The once thriving Pueblo became a battleground for cultural and economic control, a microcosm of the larger struggle consuming Alta California. As American settlers poured into the region, the Californios saw their way of life slipping through their fingers and tensions boiled over. In 1846, during the Bear Flag Revolt, Captain Thomas Fallon and his band of volunteers descended upon San Jose with alarming ease, ending Mexican rule in a bloody assertion of power. The flag of the California Republic was raised, and with it, the death knell for Mexico's presence in the region sounded, leaving San Jose to confront an uncertain future under the shadow of foreign dominance. San Jose's tumultuous transformation, from conquest to innovation. In the wake of the Mexican-American War, California's fate was sealed in 1847, with the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo marking the end of Mexico's rule over the land. By 1849, San Jose had become the capital of the newly formed territory, and with California's admission to the Union in 1850, it briefly held the honor of being the state's first capital. Yet, this fleeting period of prominence was marked by the echoing footsteps of rapid change. As the city incorporated on March 27, 1850, its first mayor, Josiah Belden, looked to lead a city teetering on the edge of reinvention. A brief chapter in California's legislative history played out in San Jose's Plaza de Cesar Chavez before the capital was moved elsewhere. As the years pressed forward, the city found itself on the cutting edge of aviation innovation in the early 20th century, with pioneers like John Montgomery pushing the boundaries of flight. But the specter of disaster also loomed large. San Jose was not spared from the catastrophic 1906 earthquake, leaving destruction in its wake, including the tragic loss of life at Agnew's Asylum. The city was further scarred during World War II as Japanese Americans were cruelly forced into internment camps, and racial violence erupted following the Zoot Suit riots. A city once nearly 100% white was beginning to transform, its history forever marked by the pain and progress of its residents. The innovations, tragedies, and conflicts defined a city caught between its past and its uncertain future, as it struggled to define what it would become in the sprawling landscape of modern America. San Jose's industrial awakening, from agriculture to innovation. As World War II erupted, San Jose, once known for its agricultural roots and the Del Monte cannery, witnessed a seismic shift in its economic landscape. The city's transformation began with the United States War Department contracting the Food Machinery Corporation (FMC) to build 1,000 landing vehicle tract, setting the stage for a post-war industrial boom. By the war's end, FMC's legacy as a defense contractor endured, with its San Jose facilities contributing to military platforms like the M113 armored personnel carrier and the Bradley fighting vehicle. As technology advanced, so did the city's role in the burgeoning tech industry. IBM planted its first West Coast operations in San Jose in 1943, opening a punch card plant downtown and later a groundbreaking research lab in 1952. Here, Reynold B. Johnson's team developed the hard disk drive, a milestone that solidified the city's reputation as a cradle for technological innovation. The 1950s and 1960s ushered in a period of rapid growth, spearheaded by city manager A.P. Dutch Thámien, as San Jose annexed neighboring areas like Alviso and Cambrian Park, expanding into sprawling suburbs. However, this rapid development sparked an anti-growth movement in the 1970s, fueled by mayors Norman Mineta and Janet Gray Hayes, who championed measures like an urban growth boundary and development fees. Despite these efforts, the relentless pace of expansion continued, transforming the once quiet agricultural town into the vibrant technological hub it would become, all the while contending with the challenges of a city caught between progress and preservation. Silicon Valley surge. San Jose's transformation amid growth and strain. As San Jose's position at the heart of Silicon Valley took root, the city found itself swept into an era of unprecedented economic and population growth. By 1990, the results of the U.S. Census revealed that San Jose had outgrown San Francisco as the Bay Area's most populous city, marking a dramatic shift in the region's landscape. However, with this explosive growth came a crushing reality. The housing market skyrocketed, with prices soaring 936% from 1976 to 2001, leaving many residents grappling with the cost of living. In response, city planners pushed for increased density to accommodate the swelling population, but efforts to ease development restrictions were met with resistance. A 1990s update to the city's 1974 urban plan preserved the urban growth boundaries, and voters overwhelmingly rejected measures to loosen restrictions in the surrounding foothills. By the mid-2000s, multifamily housing had come to dominate the cityscape, comprising over 60% of the housing built since 1980, and more than three-quarters of the housing constructed after 2000. This shift reflected a commitment to smart growth principles, favoring compact, efficient development over suburban sprawl. Despite these efforts, the city's rapid expansion into Silicon Valley also fueled mounting pressures. Housing costs continued to soar, and the delicate balance between growth, livability, and preservation of the city's character remained an ongoing struggle. San Jose stood at a crossroads, its future shaped by the technological revolution that had defined its rise. San Jose shows how cities can leapfrog eras, but not without scars. The Ohlone were displaced, orchards paved over, and a new divide created. Now we want to hear your SJ story. Tech worker? Multi-gen local? Or just fascinated by Silicon Valley? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for our next American City Deep Dive.